preference or not. I want the session to be valuable. I want you guys to leave feeling like you're in a better place than you are now. So, in addition to working on this problem, like how to market and build these businesses for a long time, in addition to talking to so many of you guys, and which pattern recognition becomes the thing, we also have a little bit over 5,500 customers at Art Storefronts, and we study their data like extremely closely, especially the ones that are doing really well. Who's capturing the most emails? Who's the most effective at Instagram? Why? Who's the most effective at Facebook? Why? Who's the best at email marketing? Why? Who's selling the most originals? Who's selling the most overall? Who's selling the most commissions? Who's selling the most metal prints? What about acrylic prints? What about paper prints? Who's doing the best at framing? And we really do deep dives on these customers' data. And so all of that combined, I think, gives me some unique insights into how this business and how this industry can and should be run, what it looks like to be effective, how long it's going to take you to spin your operation up, what you need to do in a post-pandemic world and coming out of that, and what that looks like, where the offline revenue sources that many of us have counted on are slow to come back, although we certainly hope they come back full strength. So agenda for today, what we'll do is I will start out by playing a video that I recorded on one of these sessions a couple of weeks ago, and does a pretty good job of answering at a high level, who is Art Storefronts, what do we do, most importantly, how can we help you? And then once that's done, we'll open it up for Q&A. Now, one of the things that you'll notice at the bottom of your Zoom window is there is a chat section. So as the show rolls along, if you've got questions, throw them into the chat. Myself, my team will address them, get to them, and answer them. And then if not, we can open it up on the back end of the show and get into Q&A at that point. And if you're in Zoom, awesome. We'll get into hand raising and everything else after this little intro video. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or any of the other platforms, I can see those questions as well and be more than happy to address those as we roll along. So on that note, I'm going to get myself out of here. April, you can go ahead and start the video, and I will see you guys on the other side of it. This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos and me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. We get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company. And yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, Art Storefronts, that is 100% dependent, surprise this one, but on how successful our customers are, on how much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction-filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so really, everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And, it's never any one feature. It's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select a media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas.
most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker? Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. Another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is we have this feature. Excuse me, mute that. Called Live Preview with AR. Okay, and what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right-hand side. And without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says Live Preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up, if we think of a sports analogy, like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them. It's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of backend software. It turns out running an art business, art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down, okay? Things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your webpage for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back, okay? Let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here, actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners, and I'll get into the reasons why. But we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. We've got Bay Photo on the West Coast. We've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada. And then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise. And I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up, you get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button that says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid, you get paid, the order gets printed, the order gets boxed, your logo goes on the side of the box, boom, it ships to the customer, you touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, you know, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin, okay? Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably like a month before Christmas, maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds, hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. They can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and, a number of different other items. We've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize, again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44. And what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page, great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, you can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize, again, like, artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with the lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars, and we're adding puzzles, and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the number one iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best-in-class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is: email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now, okay? And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support-related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that. So I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is their marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter all over this country and others, every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call Playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop on a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week in, week out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level, and then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers, and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI out of marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? Is what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the traction group. And after you sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the ramping group. After you sold a much higher revenue threshold that we don't publish, you get in the advanced group, which we call growth. We hold week in, week out, every single solitary week, and we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks. We go over the calendars. We talk about wins. Somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it. Here's the copy. Here's the Facebook post. And you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers, and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode, and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers. I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? You know, myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need a kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes. And that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated. Okay. There's no trolls. There's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists. Photographers are sharing with other photographers. The people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing the same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. I mean, it really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And, you know, in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly, you feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim thins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, you know, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like, you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need to be able to have the ability. If you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like, we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life, in order, are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that. Right? So you can drop your images in a folder. Tell us to build the site, we'll build the site for you, okay? We'll manage your Facebook ads, okay? We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like, our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte or it's, you know, almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, you know, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay. Guilty, you know, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer and, you know, I'd have limited bandwidth to do that. And then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or you know, probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming on to the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency, and we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time, and if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation.
Okay, thanks. Hopefully that cleared some things up. I'm sure you probably still have some questions. Most often that is the case. So let's talk briefly about how we handle the questions. One, if you're one of the brave ones with the camera on and you want to do the old-fashioned hand raise, we'll see those easy enough. But at the bottom of the Zoom window, there's like a participants. It's like two little people icon. You can click on that, and Zoom gives you the ability to digitally raise your hand. It'll put a little like hand raise next to your name, and that'll let me know you have a question, and then I can sort of prioritize those. If you don't want to turn your camera on, don't feel like you need to turn your camera on. I hate being on video. I totally get it. Dee, Jamie, I appreciate you guys being brave and going for it. Oh, looks like Jay's about to jump in. So don't feel like you need to. You can certainly ask your questions on audio. And again, for those that are on any of the socials, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, I see those questions too. So I can answer those questions directly. That shouldn't be a problem in the slightest. But yeah, that's the presentation. You know, in addition to that, everybody that's on this call, every single solitary one of you has a marketing problem. You all have an attention problem. You don't have enough eyeballs on your art or your photography. And without the eyeballs, it's very difficult to make sales. And I know that conclusively because I talk to hundreds of you guys week in and week out. There's the cliche portion of it in which artists and photographers suck at marketing, which is totally true. But then there's the reality of it, which is, you know, what deepest, darkest down does every single solitary producing creative artist or photographer actually want? They want to just go out and create and have somebody do everything else, right? And sadly, that actually is not a viable business model, right? Like, you know, surprise, surprise. If you want to go that route, you are a hobbyist, which is a fantastic way. That could be your creative outlet, but you are certainly not going to build a business on it. And you know, it underpinning sort of all of this too is, you know, maybe you could have sort of gotten away with it pre-pandemic. Maybe you had a gallery going on. Maybe you had the show and fair circuit and you were pounding that, which is an awesome thing, and I hope it comes back. But it's not exactly easy, is it? Booth fees, setting up on your feet 8 hours a day, the crappy meals, driving up, loading the car, all of that. So it's not the easiest way to go. And then, you know, the pandemic hit, all of those offline revenue sources pretty much just dried up completely. And while we hope they come back, boy, it puts you in a precarious situation in the meantime. Like, what the heck are you supposed to do? Just take a little hiatus from the business and just do nothing or just create? Like, how are you going to sell your art? How are you going to sell your photography? And that's why we always get back to the marketing problem. Every single solitary person on here has a marketing problem. You think you have other problems, and you can't even have those problems until you fix the marketing problem. So that's quite literally the conundrum. So, you know, when people ask me at the end of the day, what does Art Storefronts do? Like, do we have the best in class website for selling art or photography online? Yes, we do. Doesn't matter though. Doesn't matter. It's like having like the best. Yeah. Do we have the best restaurant in the world? Yes, but it's in the middle of Death Valley in summer. No one's showing up. Okay. So we got to fix that. We have to fix the marketing problem. So ultimately, more than anything else, that's what we do. That's what we do. We essentially start in day one and we work on giving you a BA in how to market and actually grow an art business in the 2020 decade here and beyond. And that's it. That's our secret sauce. That's what we do. That's how we help people. And you know, it's what it takes to create successful artists or photographers. That's it. That's it. There's really nothing else like to demystify from the whole thing other than that. But we can get into everything else. Where are you? Are you just getting started? Do you have niche selection questions, shipping questions? Where are you? So I saw a question in the chat that I wanted to start with. And Stacy, I'm gonna unmute you because I want to address this one because it's a really important one. So Stacy, I'm gonna unmute you. You'll have to hit your microphone icon in the bottom left-hand corner. Great. So I'll repeat her question, but her question is, how much time does the recommended marketing portion take, right? And here's how I answer this one, Stacy, and it's and why I wanted to do it this way and like not in the chat per se, is the premise of that question is completely flawed. And the premise is there's some sort of minimum monthly commitment in terms of marketing hours that is going to guarantee me a successful business. It applies way more to than just the marketing thing. But just to give you an example, What are the best selling media types? And if I know that, then I'll have a successful business, right? Because the premise is that somehow your biggest problem is knowing what the best selling media types are, or sizes, or price point, or anything else. And the reality is that it is completely a different path, a different story for every single solitary person. Some people come on, they hit the ground running, their art is exploding, they hit 6 figures in the first year. Some people struggle to hit 10K in 3 years, okay? And there's everything in between. And when it comes to marketing, the biggest problem, and let me just punctuate it by, does this sound familiar? This is going to be my year. I'm finally going to take this business seriously. I'm ready to start working on my marketing. You work on your marketing diligently for 3 months. You don't get the results that you want, and you quit for a year and a half. Rinse and repeat, right? That's what happens time and time again, because no one has ever given you the perspective of how long it takes. So to succinctly answer the question, it's less about the hours that you can give me on a weekly basis, Stacia, than it is give me 52 weeks a year of it. You have 2 weeks, you have 2 hours a week to give me, fine. Give me those 2 hours a week for 52 weeks. And then we're going to reevaluate and we're going to take a look. And what ends up happening is when you actually work on it consistently, okay, is the only thing that ever works, that ever gets anything done. You have to work on it consistently. And, you know, if you looked at the 5,500 customers we have, standard 80-20 Pareto's law applies. 80% of our customers have full-time jobs, whatever it is, right? Whether they're a service-based photographer and, you know, they're taking high school yearbook photos and they're trying to sell their fine art, or whether they're an accountant. We've got one gal that's a rocket scientist at NASA. No kidding. Super interesting. I constantly try to get her to do Facebook Lives at the NASA facilities, and she'll never do it for me because she said she'll lose her job, but I want to see it. Anyway, the point is, everybody's got a different story, okay? The most important thing you can do is devote regular and consistent time and make it week in, week out, and never have it stop. And what ends up happening, Stacey, is you're like, you know, whatever your circumstances are, you've got a full-time job, you've got kids, you're caring for someone, you start giving it what you can. And some period of time down the road, it could be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you start stacking a couple of wins. And then it just fills up the motivational gas tank. And then instead of the 2 hours a week, you're now giving me 4 hours a week. And it just slowly, you know, ratchets up like that. But that's the best way to answer it. Is the most important thing that we do is we keep our customers accountable. Like, you got to do it weekly. You have to give it to me 52 weeks a year. I mean, you can take a vacation, but you know what I mean? It's got to be consistent. Did I lose you, Stacia?
No, just taking it all in.
You could see why I couldn't answer all that in the chat. I had to.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and I'm one of those that has, you know, kids and a full-time job. So that was the main reason for the question. And yeah, I understand the consistency, but what I was afraid of is if 2 hours a week, you know, is that enough? I mean, if I'm consistent, right?
It is, you know, I think one of the things you'll never hear, and one of the things that, even if I would have said this a year ago, I wouldn't have said it with any conviction because I wouldn't have believed it. But now I've been doing these things for a year. I have talked to so many artists and photographers, I can't even begin to tell you. And one of the things that just goes and smacks you in the face is, on a regular basis, week in, week out, I get people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and probably once every 2 weeks, I get somebody in their 90s. And they're talking about how they're going to grow their art business. And so why do I bring that up? I bring that up to give you the perspective. Because I'm looking at your photo and you're young. You have your entire art selling career ahead of you, okay? And is it ideal that you're only going to have 2 hours a week to give me? No. But guess what happens if you start that now, rather than 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, or 7 years from now, when your kids get a little bit older? There's never, the most important thing that you can do is get started, start doing it consistently, whatever you can do, and then have the perspective of how long you're going to have this business. The only thing that matters in the very, very short term, it's less about working on your art than it is about working on the marketing, because you're going to have different styles. You're going to go through different iterations. You're going to try different things. And what everyone does is they're like, I'm just going to go ahead and do all these other things. And then once I get done with those things, I'll work on the marketing. And what you're really saying is, I'm going to go work on all these other things and never get any feedback and never even know if I'm on the right course anyway. You have to work on the marketing. You have to start getting the feedback. And, you know, for one of the analogies I give is like, in order to run this business, you have to build up the marketing muscles that it takes to actually run an art or photography business in today's day and age. And there's a number of different muscles. I sort of liken it like trying to do 100 push-ups in one sitting, right? Like, unless you're a Marine, you can't do that. That takes like a lot of time to get there. Like, first you're going to be able to do 10, and then, you know, and what are they? You need to learn how to capture email addresses. You need to regularly email those email addresses. You have to learn how to post on the socials regularly. You have to learn the mechanics of all of that. You have to learn how to run a sale. You have to learn about all the intricacies of a sale, how to announce a sale, how to have the right discount and scarcity, i.e. the deal and the incentive to get people to take action, how to make the sale dovetail with your Instagram and Facebook posts, how to make the sale dovetail with your Facebook, Instagram, and email, how to extend the sale. What do you do during the sale to follow up with people individually? How do you run a live art show? There's all of these various different things that you have to learn. And do you have to learn them? Absolutely. Absolutely you do. Do you have to learn them all in the first year or 6 months or 9 months? No. It's a constant a path of just leveling up as you go. And there's no shortcut to it. You have to do it. You have to do it in today's day and age. It's how art is sold. The most successful customers we have, they are all doing it. They are all doing it. So that's what I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You're definitely the first Stacia. Is it a typo or is that really your name, Stacia? Just out of curiosity.
No, it's Stacia.
Stacia. Well, okay.
Yep.
Well, I was really hacking that one. So thank you.
No, that's all right.
You're the first Stacia I've seen though. Fantastic name. I'm putting that one on the list. Juan, put that one on the list. Stacia. I like it. I like it. Okay. Teresa's saying in response, I might as well pull it up. In response, we ran a full-time commercial studio. I think we spent more time speaking with potential clients and marketing than anything else. It was a routine, like Patrick has states. Yeah, that's the whole ball game. And yes, Leanna, I will cover pricing and go over that in depth too. I'll probably do that a little bit later in the session because everyone has the pricing questions. Yes, Dee Dee, I know, full-time job, not easy. But again, you know, 80% of our customers have a full-time job. Like, it's just part of it. Everyone wants to, you know, figure this out and make it potentially their retirement, or, you know, get the business working and quit the full-time job. And that's the dream, and it's awesome. But like anything else, got to put in the work. Got to put in the work, marketing and figuring that out and seeing how that all goes. Yeah, and Leanna, you're asking what is step one when you're a photographer? I'm going to unmute you, Leanna. Hold on. Okay, Leanna, if you hit the mic icon in the bottom left, it'll unmute you. I think I got you. Are you there, Leanna? Do I see your mic moving? I think you have. I think you have the wrong audio thing selected, Leanna, because I can see that you're unmuted, but I don't see like your little audio level moving. That usually means on like the bottom left-hand corner of Zoom, there's like a little up arrow by the microphone. You have to click that and make sure you have the right microphone selected. But step one, if you're a photographer, I'm assuming, you know, what is that thing about assumption? I'm assuming, are you saying you've never sold your work before ever, and you've taken some photos and you'd like to sell them, but you haven't yet? I can certainly give you some targeted advice on that. Don't worry, Leanna. These tech issues pop all the time. Again, it's just a little up arrow right by the microphone icon, and then you're probably, you know, maybe you're on the headset microphone, or maybe you're on your computer the microphone. It's one of those things. But I'll leave you unmuted in case you do pop in. Hold on. Now I can't hear you. I know. That's the beauty of the day and age that we live in. It's always something with tech. You want to have a job, you make sure you never lose, go into IT, because it just never works all the time. All right, what else, guys? Who else has questions? I know you've got to have a question about something. Leanna, you're still working on it. I'm going to just leave you on unmute if you can figure it out. Great. And thank you for that, Terry. Thank you for adding in the pointers. Does that include like sales sheets and stuff like that for tax purposes? Yes, it does. We have a whole bunch of different admin stuff You can see Stacey's question is, Stacia, I saw you take care of admin items. There's a whole bunch of back-end stuff that's just like endemic to the art business that you have to do, that our software does a great job of. But Stacia, those are not Stacia. Those are Stacia. I'm gonna keep saying. Those aren't your issues early on. Yes, we have fantastic software that solves for all of that, but those aren't your issues early on until you get a bunch of orders.
Can you hear me yet?
Oh, Leanna, I like it. You pulled it off. That's determination.
Obviously, I'm not a big tech person.
It's okay. If you can apply the determination it just took you to get through that unmute to your marketing, I think we're winning. So you're ahead already. All right. So go ahead. You're a photographer. Have you tried to sell your photography at all so far up till now?
No, because I don't even know what step 1 is, but everyone says I should sell my pictures.
Wonderful. Love that. Those are great friends. You have to get your work printed. Okay. And you can do so very inexpensively, like, for $110, you could essentially order a sample kit, and the show and tell will be way more awesome if I have actual pieces. So let me just do that. One of the beauties of leveraging what we're doing now, and I can rant on this for hours and hours and hours, but one of the beauties of leveraging Zoom sessions and live video to potentially sell things. I didn't mean to press that button. Hold on. Look at the size of this, okay? Didn't mean to press that button either. Not big, right? Not huge, but it's a metal print, shows the work. When I have a webcam, when I have a green screen, that's gonna make it look a little weird, but I can zoom in on it on my webcam. You can see the fantastic detail. Wow, it's Positano. You can talk about it, tiny little one, right? So you can show metal. You can show acrylic. Again, my green screen's making it look a little saucy. Ready to hang, Show what a paper print looks like. And what you'll notice, because we're on video, because I'm so close, it's awesome to have the small sizes. If I had one great big one like this, I'd be in trouble, right? So you can spend like $150, get what you think are going to be your top best-selling 6 photographs, and you're just getting started, right? So you have your images, and you say, "Hey guys, well, first of all, you all have one of these. I know you all have one of these, okay?" And there is all a social network in which you have some sort of followers. And I don't care if it's your personal Facebook page or it's Instagram, or you don't have any followers and you're just going to email your friends, and you just start out quite simple. You've got your 7 or 8 different types, and you say, "Hey guys, this pandemic has really made me rethink my art business. I've always been a photographer. I'm passionate about photography. Everyone was always telling me to launch a business, so I'm doing it. And to celebrate, I'm starting out with the sale. So here's a metal print, and let's just say this thing cost you $75. So here's a by whatever size metal print. If it's of a beautiful church in Positano, which is in the Amalfi Coast in Italy. It's incredible. Here's a fun fact about this photo: the city council, or whatever they call it in Italian, does not let anyone change the color of any of these houses. You can repaint your house anytime as long as it's the same color to keep the charm. I had to wait 4 hours to get this shot. Amazing, right? I would normally sell something like this for $375, but because I'm trying to launch my business, because you guys are my friends and family, I'll take $225 or the best offer. I'll take PayPal, Venmo, whatever you want. That's one. Here we go on to the next one. And you talk about this and whatever your motivation was, and you talk about how it's acrylic and it's ready to hang. You let people know all sizes are available to contact you. You can just do a simple little live art show like that and send it to everyone you know. And you get to find out for real, Leanna, if all of your friends are just being dear friends. "Oh, your photographs are amazing. They're incredible. You should really contemplate starting a business," all of which is fantastic, but none of which replaces the almighty transaction, right? Everybody's a friend. Everybody, or stated another way, if I picked you up right now, Leanna, and we drove down to the ATM, is there a button on the ATM machine that says, "I love your work. You should really put this out. Your work's incredible," or likes or comments or shares, or "I'm in a juried art show"? No, there's none of those buttons. There's none of those buttons on the ATM machine for a reason. The only thing that will tell you if your work will actually sell is if somebody pulls out the credit card and slides for it, or if somebody sells you, if somebody buys your work. Yeah, so great. If you got photos to show already, you run that. Well, you'd have to pull them out of the clinic, but you run that live art show concept exactly like I just went through, and that's how you go about starting. Or in a pre-pandemic world, it was certainly easier to do this because you could just get a booth at the local whatever. Some people can start to still do that, and things are opening back up. But The larger point is you have to get the work in front of strangers and see if it'll sell. That's where you get started. That's step number one. Okay, you're just giving me time. Wonderful, wonderful. Great question too. Yeah, that's how you get started. And I think there was someone else in here. Yeah, so Alicia was saying the same thing. I'll unmute you too, Alicia, because people are being shy today. You'll have to hit the mic icon in the bottom left, Alicia.
I'm not technically literate, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think you answered the question a little bit, but how do you have the broader outreach to people that aren't just, friends and family? How do you?
Yeah, this is the serious chicken and egg situation, right? And again, I would say, hold on for 1 second. Stop it. I have 2 small children that are sick and home from school today. This is a joy, let me tell you. I'm so blessed. So pre-pandemic, again, much easier to do, right? Because whether it's a local farmer's market or whether you live in a busy part of town and you could go guerrilla style and set it up on a street corner, or whether it's like an actual show or fair, that's really the easiest way to do it. Because the best way to sell art is in person, face to face, and there's no 2 ways about that. So that would be the easiest way to do it back in the day. You in the booth, having real conversations, does the work sell? That's the quickest way to get there. In today's digital world, being that like a lot of those shows and fairs are not what they were, the farmers markets, people aren't really attending, is the live art show concept that I just sort of explained. But early on, starting out, I mean, you gotta beg, borrow, steal, do whatever you have to do, right? And so even if it's friends and family buying early on, you'll take whatever kind of momentum and wind in the sails that you can get. And if they're buying it, it ends up on their wall. They have a friend that just moved from an apartment to a bigger house. They need some art. Have you checked out my friend Alicia? She's got some really cool stuff. It all comes from hustling early on. And while I love the in-person, for some people I know it's just not it's not feasible right now. So you can try the live art show thing, like just as a for instance, Alicia, how many do you have on your personal Facebook page? How many friends?
I think maybe 15.
15. Yeah. Okay.
I'm kind of a Luddite, which is partly the attraction for what you guys have to offer,
yes.
right?
Because, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would join a long and distinguished list of Luddites, as a matter of fact. That's also sort of one of the beauties of it, though, too, is that I go on this like little side rant, right? And I'm sort of looking at Harley up here. Harley, you're my avatar on this one. Harley's probably been in business his entire life. He's probably at the absolute top of his game, right? In terms of what he's able to create and produce. He had a robust business back in the day in whatever offline revenue sources that he had going on, maybe a gallery and anything else. And I look at him and he comes on, he's like, well, Patrick, what do I do? And again, I'm assuming Harley, it might not be you at all, but you're just an avatar for the purposes of this. And I sit there and I look at it and it's like, Harley used to have the corner office, the executive suite with the floor to ceiling windows and the big desk. And he's coming on this call and I'm saying, Harley, I need to rip you out of that office and you're going to have to go back into the mail room and push the damn cart around and deliver parcels for 1.5 years. And I'm sorry. I wish I knew there was another way, but today's day and age, like digital marketing is how you reach people. You have to get attention and eyeballs to sell your art. The offline revenue sources, like they're not going to come back anywhere near as strong as they were. And it's going to take a while. People are going to be gun shy of crowds. The art show and fair circuit does not operate at positive ROI at 50 or 60 or 70% capacity. You need 100% of attendance at those things. And half the galleries are out of business. And the half that did stay in business are already getting sharky with the, look, we have way too many artists. And so the 50-50 split is no longer valid. It's now a 60-40. Are you willing to take that? Oh, you're not? Well, there's 25 others that will, right? So you have to start in on your marketing. You have to go through learning this stuff. And, Alicia, when you have a peer group that's going through it with you, that moment when you would normally be pulling your hair out of your head and willing to quit and having a martini at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, you'll realize there's other people in the same boat that you are. It totally sucks the first year, right? You're going to be banging your head against the wall, but bit by bit, you will get better. Bit by bit, you will become less and less and less of a Luddite. You'll actually start liking technology. You're like, oh, this is amazing. And I don't know what other course of action exists Like, how else are you going to sell art or photography? Upload to the marketplaces. Oh, that's easy enough to do. There's only about 10,000 people that look just like you. How are you going to get anywhere? Is there any viable income there? No, there's usually not for 99% of the people. And you don't know who your customers are. If you're trying to build a business, an art or photography business, and you are not retaining your customer data, i.e., you don't have the ability to market to these people in perpetuity, i.e., you don't have the ability to identify who your collectors, your VIPs are, the people that'll buy 6, 7, 8 plus pieces of your work over the course of a lifetime, you do not have a business. It's like going into a fight with like both of your hands tied behind your back. You're gonna have to headbutt people to survive. It's just there's no path forward. So you have to get past. You have to get over the Luddite thing. If you absolutely would be like, I can't do it, I'm never going to do it, I know what my skill sets are, then you have to get somebody that does, because it's just sort of the nature of the beast right now. It's where we are.
But your agency can do that.
They
Or
can.
can help with that.
Yeah, they absolutely can. It's nice, right? Because again, 80% of our customers have full-time jobs, and it's like,
right,
despite the fact that I want you to be on McDonald's, like I kind of said in my intro thing, like I want you knowing all these aspects of the business, because it's an important aspect of your business. It's the nature of this business. It's solopreneur, wearing all the hats. If you don't have time, you don't have time. Sometimes you need to be able to go into the store and grab a little gasoline to pour on the fire, right? And that's what makes the agency awesome. It's like you can do little tune-ups here or there where you just don't have the time to do it, and it creates momentum and maintains momentum, which is huge.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. They were great questions. Okay, Jamie, you had your hand up, and then Julio, I'll go to you next. So go ahead, Jamie. You're going to unmute you now. You have to hit the mic icon bottom left. So bottom left-hand corner. Oh yeah, it looks like you're on an iPad. It'll just be like a microphone icon, and you have to like tap on top of it.
How about that?
Boom, got it.
I did. I got it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So what if, like you were saying, some of us were used to a storefront and now we're closed, and I don't really see that coming back the way.
I don't either. I know. I know. It's
honestly.
really sad. It's really
and
sad.
I think this is better for the artist. Truly.
100,000% it's better than the artist. I mean,
but what do you do if you do have canvas and you might have to, I don't know, photograph it and
oh yeah, that's super
ship
easy.
it and make a website, all that stuff. You do all that stuff. That's like amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we don't photograph the work for you, but we show you the ways to best do it. It's really, really easy to get a photograph for reproduction, like non-issue. 10, 15 years ago, much harder. Now, like put an ad on Craigslist, somebody comes to your house, he sets up the lighting, she sets up the lighting in your garage, and in one day, all your stuff is ready to go. Boom, done.
That's over too, right? You got to do it yourself. I do hear what you're saying. And these cameras and, on the iPhones,
yes,
they're better than any art camera. The what do you call it? The
SLR.
It's just the resolution of the picture.
Yes,
it's magnificent, and you can change the lighting and all this stuff. Can you take some of your own art and make it available to put on the bags and the metal and all of those different 100%. Things?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You could use you can use, like, we're going to send you an article. We have a guy that used to be one of there it is. Boom, it's in the chat already. And don't worry, I'll send you guys all of this in an email after the fact. But we had a guy that used to do it for Sotheby's, art for reproduction, and he's a customer, and he wrote a very in-depth article on how to do it with everything from an iPhone all the way up to, like, a nice
cool.
Yeah. So
and you can tell them how long I've been trying to get on one of these, because I've been going through the learning process too. That's one thing, but the nature of being able to repeat your art too is like
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow, it really is. So I think what you're doing is fantastic, and it was only my lack of skills that took so long for me to get on one of your Zooms, right?
Yeah.
I've been trying for a year, haven't I?
I don't know if you've been trying for a year and you finally made it today. I'm all with your level of persistence. We can
I
harness
don't
that.
give up. No, I don't give up.
Yeah,
I keep trying. I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do I work GarageBand? I don't know. My kids used to do that. I can't, but I have to do it myself now. If I want to do it,
You do.
everybody has to do it themselves. And it's like,
100%.
I love that because you take out the middleman.
Yep.
And you take out having to give a slice of your art to someone, all the time you took to create the art. You don't have to do that anymore.
Every one of these businesses have a life cycle, and I steal from this guy's book because I love it. It's called "Don't Be a Starting Artist," and it's by Weiland. He's like the whale guy, #1 selling artist in the United States, by the way. So you'd have to. We'll put a link to it in the chat. Phenomenally thin book, just a whole bunch of quick hitting truisms of the business. But he talks about how important a collector list is. Okay. And in his definition, a collector list is someone that buys in upwards of 7+ pieces over the course of their life of the particular artist's artwork. And I've been doing this long enough now that I see time and time again the people that are cultivating a collector list. And look, it starts out with you have an email list and you email, and then you get some sales, and then you just treat everyone that's ever bought anything as a collector. And then your career advances and you get people that have actually bought 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 pieces. Once you're at those levels, then you treat these people like VIPs. You check in on a regular basis. You like their social media posts. You treat them incredible. And, that list, okay, is the difference between surviving as an artist or photographer or not. And there's so many of you guys that have been working on your art, your photography your entire life. You've been selling in a whole bunch of different venues and fashions and shows and fairs and maybe online galleries, but you haven't been keeping the list. And as a result, if you haven't been keeping the list, you don't have a viable business, because I see our customers that have these lists and they'll produce a new series, whether they're an artist or a photographer, whatever it is. And before they even release it, before they even have the sale or have the show, 20 to 30 to 40 to 50% of the series is bought up right away by the collectors, right? And so imagine if your new body of work, whatever it was, you only had to sell half of it or sell 40% of it. That is the ball game. It's almost like it's like your pension. It's like your 401k that's just firing out investment dollars of your career year in and year out. And it's like, until you start building that list, I don't know how you build a sustainable business doing this. And all of the ways, to your point of this being the future, all of the ways, online galleries, no customer data, retail galleries, no customer data. Now, shows and fairs, definitely you got to keep the customer data, but most people have been lazy at keeping up with those customers and not following up and not marketing regularly. So that's really the ballgame.
I think also going from selling other people's art to now selling my own is a big shift, because
100%.
I admire all of the artists that have come across my path, but now I'm realizing that I'm one of them, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think I should probably start selling my own art, which is a whole shift too.
Yep. But you got the
and I'm
skills.
scared, but I'm gonna win. I'm gonna push through it. It's like I don't think we have any choice but to learn.
I'm 100%. I'm 100% in agreement there. 100% in agreement. So
we used to keep like little file cards on each person and on each piece of art, to see how many, like you were saying, count how many they bought. And I know you're right about some people just buying, 7 pieces, throughout time, sometimes even more, if they trust you. And I heard you say someone had a decorating job. That's wonderful. If they trust you, to bring them stuff that they're going to like. Yeah.
It's the whole ball game. We can help you, Jamie.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I finally got to talk to you. I'm like, whoa, I did
it. Yep. Don't worry. There's going to be plenty of opportunities, so I'm not going anywhere. Okay, Julio, you're up next. And it doesn't look like you're driving, right, Julio?
No, I'm not. I'm not actually parked this time. So yeah.
Okay, good.
I wanna again, I enjoy every session that you give out. One of the like I said from the beginning, I'm looking forward to get started. But my thing is that I work so hard for my money, and for me to invest on something now that I'm at this age, I'm like, I need to know what am I getting at, from the initiation, that the one-time pay, what do I get out of that? And I know for a fact that you guys are charging like another fee for the website.
Mhm.
And I seen the benefit on the website. I'm a website designer. I love the website. I love the concept. I love every feature, the dynamic, everything you guys have on the website is phenomenal. I mean, it's awesome. I'm not against it. My website is simple. It's just showing, I bought a template. I work on a template, and
Yep.
I put my artwork out there, and I actually made it into art class, to give art class, because I do art classes online too.
Awesome.
And I wanted to expand myself because I wanted to have a community of artists, and my goal is to have a legacy. So when I die, my kids can continue this legacy. That's my goal.
Love that.
So I wanted to market myself in the sense of, so people can take the classes, and if they want to buy the art, the paintings, great. I mean, I also did Photoshop back in the days in New York. I know what it is about getting a piece of work and print it and paint and sell it. I mean, I did a lot of photo restoration. And I know the concept behind it. I've been around that media, and I think it's awesome. It's awesome that you can replicate your artwork and sell it more inexpensive so people can afford it, rather than buy the more expensive pieces. Because honestly, I cannot put a price on my artwork. I mean, it's very hard for me to put. I'm so attached to them that it's so hard for me to just sell it to someone that later on it's like, oh man, you just been hacked. I mean, so you paid, you could have got more money out of that. So I want to hold on to it and sell copies. And if someone wants to buy the original, fine, but it has to be a price that I think is is right for it, because it's a lot of passion in behind my paintings, and I wanted to. They're not flourish. It's just feelings and emotions that I paint. So, but my reason I wanted to have my question is, again, my reason to call is that I want to know because I'm ready to get in, but I need to know what am I getting at. Uh, from the initiation, the one-time initiation. What do I get?
Yeah,
because
totally, I totally get that, and that'll help me to answer some other people's questions that they had on pricing too. And so I'll get into that. One of the things that I'll say though, and you probably heard me say this before, right? So a young sketch artist is interviewing Picasso and asking Picasso for advice on how to sell his art and what to do about pricing, what to think about pricing. And Picasso responds by saying, early on, my prices did not, or my pieces, my drawings specifically, did not command high prices, but they all moved. They all moved. They all sold. Your art has to get out into the world. So I think that's a really powerful piece of advice. And this piece of advice is like, you have to be selling it. So if you're beating yourself up over how to price it, you gotta, sorry, I took myself out of the video. You have to make sure that whatever your price is, that it's selling. It's got to sell. It's got to get out into the world. You need to be producing more of it. Now let's talk about what you're getting. So we're a website company. Yeah. You get a website, and like any other website company, we charge a monthly fee for the website. And I can get to that pricing in a second, what little I know of it. The marketing is the biggest problem you have. It's the biggest problem that everyone on this call has. And so how do we go about solving that? We have regular sessions. We have an art marketing calendar, all that we do. It's essentially the art business university. You pay a one-time fee to get into this thing, and you're in it for life. And the teaching never stops. And the marketing coaching never stops. And the weekly classes never stop. And the learning never stops. And the software never stops improving. So that's how we solve the problem. And so what you're going to get is the most important thing you need. You don't need a website. You don't need a template. You don't need any fancy features. You need your feet held to the fire. You need to learn to market, and you need to do so consistently for the next 15 years. You want to leave your family a legacy? Marketing is what's going to get you there. 50%. The other 50% is going to be creating the art. So that's what you get. That's what you need more than anything else. And trust me, it's the only thing that moves the needle early on. Now, after you get a bunch of traffic, after you have a huge email list, after you learn how to run a sale, yes, then the website features are going to do significantly better than every other website out there. But you have to have the attention for that to work.
So the classes that you have, is that like part in the calendar to be part of it to help you? Because
yes. It's everything. The calendar tells you what to do from a marketing standpoint, 365 days a year. Okay, week in, week out, it tells you what to do. Then we have playbooks, which are digital, learn at your own pace, DIY education that explain the various different marketing techniques, how to run a sale, how to go live on Facebook, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, how to run a live art show on Facebook and Instagram, how to execute an email campaign. All of those things have playbooks that teach you all of it step by step. But digital education is not enough. You have to have Zoom sessions like this where we teach the thing in real time and you can ask
Right.
questions just like you're asking. You get that for life. So you're essentially paying to get into college that never has any graduates because the learning never stops. You have personal teaching going on for life. That's what the buy-in is. That's the game changer. And so the starting plan is $999 one time. You get all of that. And there's a couple of tiers in terms of bells and whistles of the website features. It's why we do the demo process. They explain everything, all the tiers, all the pricing that I don't even know specifically. But the most important thing from my standpoint, I don't even really care what website package you sign up for. All I care is that you get in and you start on the marketing and you never stop. It's the ballgame.
Right.
That's what you need.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to call, son. Just when the kids get sick. Oh, when the kids get sick. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that answered the pricing question. Who else? Guys, questions? I think I saw another one in the chat. Hold on. Yeah, people were asking if the session's going to be recording. Yes, it's recorded. Yes, we send it to you after the fact. Any of the links that I mentioned throughout the whole entire process, those will go to, oh yeah, Harley, I want to talk to you. Harley, I'm going to unmute you right now.
Okay.
Okay, there you are. All right, so you've had a website for a while. Who's the website provider, just out of curiosity?
Faso?
Who is it?
Faso?
Oh yeah, Faso, yeah.
And I've been with them since I started trying to promote my art, which has been about 3 years.
Okay.
And I've sold a number of pieces, but I don't really think I can attribute those sales directly to my website. I think, I've got people interested in my art and then they go and look at it and I've sold some there, but I don't really feel like I can attribute my sales to my website, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
And they're telling me to put out a monthly or a regular newsletter, and I put one out every quarter, but I haven't had any nibbles based on that. So I just feel like I'm kind of, just kind of spinning my wheels.
You, like Julio, Harley, have a marketing problem. Like all of us have a marketing problem. Yeah. And look, it's not a knock on Faso. They've been pioneers in the field. They got into the game really, really early, but their website's just a website. A website is a website is a website, unless it's got the attention and the eyeballs coming to it, right? So a quarterly marketing newsletter is not going to get it done. Who are you even sending it to, right? Like what size is your email list, right? Like you need to be building that constantly, right?
Right. It's not very big.
Be banging the drum and getting the word out and doing all the various different aspects that constitute running in our business in today's day and age. And until you start doing that, the website's going to do very little for you. I go as far to say, and it's interesting. People always look at me like a crazy person when I say this, but there are 3 ways to sell art and photography. Okay. Every single solitary one of you needs to be running all 3 in some capacity. What is the best way to sell art? Always has been, always will be. I can totally see the gardener outside your window, which is hilarious. The best way to sell art or photography is in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. That'll never go away. The problem is you, Harley, like me, geographically fixed on this earth. We have to sleep and we can't have 15 conversations at once. So we have to have a website. The website, though, is actually the worst way of the 3 to sell art. It is the least preferable of the 3 to sell art. The second way, the newest way, the latest and greatest, is exactly what we're doing right here, right now. Leveraging live video, whether it's Zoom or Messenger or FaceTime or whatever kind of chat you have. You need to be leveraging it either one-to-one, i.e. I come to Harley's website and I say, Harley, I really want to see some of your work. He emails me back. He says, Patrick, I would love to set up a Zoom session with you and show you some of my most best-selling pieces and talk about them, whether you do it one-to-one or whether you do it one-to-many, which is the live art show concept, which is, you selling, having a live art show via the socials. I'm going to work on pulling one up so we can look at one. I've got my go-to examples that I often leverage. You know, and this concept of doing the live art show is the next latest and greatest. I mean, it's the single solitary greatest advancement that's happened to selling art since, you know, forever. And it doesn't even come close. It doesn't. It's not even close. And so here you have a gentleman, good friend of mine named Matthew Laka, and not to get into all the various different pieces of technology, but he's in his garage studio in Laval, which is a suburb of Quebec. Or yeah, I think Quebec's the state. Anyway, it's in Quebec. I have to learn what the capital is of Quebec. Is it Montreal? I don't know. No, I don't know. I gotta figure that out. Anyway, beside the point. I don't know my Canadian geography. He's streaming to the socials, and he's done a couple of these. And in this particular one, the two back to back, and this is old work. This isn't even this guy's newest work. He sold 62 pieces for a little over $30,000 Canadian, and he wasn't even wearing sleeves. No sleeves on the guy, right? And I can show you multiple examples from him because he's a customer we've worked with a ton. You know, the new paradigm of selling art or photography is absolutely this. It's the next best thing to in person because it's very close to it. And look, this was filmed a couple of months into the pandemic. He managed to, again, no sleeves with this guy, but again, he managed to have an art show in an actual gallery. And the show went ahead and ran in the actual gallery. And is the next day, we ran a laptop, ran his phone, followed him. You know, he had somebody that did that, followed him. And what did he do? He walked everybody through the gallery show. I'm just kind of speeding it up. Showed the pieces, showed the ones that are sold, showed the ones that were not sold, dealt with questions, you know, that came into the socials in real time. And, you know, he just went ahead and walked the show like you were there. And the pieces that didn't sell at the show sold in the show. If you go to, you know, your industry is a small one, right? There's not like a ton of data in these particular things. Market, is it art market report? Art market report. I think that's what it is. Let me see. Make sure this is it. So, oh, that's the wrong thing. Hold on. 2021 art market report. There it is. I got it. So this is a report put out by Art Basel in UBS, and I'm going to send you guys a link to it. I think it's a very, very important report. I clicked on the wrong link. I think this is the better one. And it talks about all of the trends that happened in 2020, and they give like a long, in-depth report, or they do key findings. You can check out either one, but it's absolutely fascinating to see. Like, these guys are at the very, very top of the market, right? Like, if you know, I liken their report is sort of like polling professional sports, you know, where most of us are amateurs and are not like the professional highest level, but all the data filters down, right? And they're talking about the art market at a huge macro and the key findings, what's going on, what happened with the data, and all the things you would expect. But the greatest takeaway from this particular one is exactly what I showed you. The entire world has come to terms with the fact that the greatest way to sell art is in person, and the next best way is via these live art shows and video. And guess what? Everyone's trying to figure it all out at once, and no one has it all figured out at all. I mean, you know, I look at these examples, right? And it's like, you know, to toot my own horn, you want to know why Art Storefronts kicks ass? Because we're doing this faster than anyone else is, right? And so, you know, I'll give you the tradecraft. I don't even care, because there are so many sophisticated steps to this that no one has figured out. You notice how he has ear pods in, right? The ear pods are connected to his phone, okay? And somebody's holding his phone next to his laptop. The phone is allowing him to go live on Instagram. We have fancy little graphics down here below. You can see his logo in the upper right-hand corner. You can see how, you know, if we go back a little bit, we're able to pull in real-time comments from real-time customers asking, "Hi, Matthew, loving it," right? So we have software, and we know what software that is that does that. So this is a guy that has a decent following on the socials. He broadcasts live to YouTube, to Facebook, to his Twitter account with software. He uses his phone and he goes live. The next thing you know, he's reaching thousands of people. After the show ends, the video gets sent to everybody, and it is the next best way to sell art. And this is a guy, you know, as an artist and a photographer, and I'll show you another example just to pull one up so you can see another one. This is a guy that used to do nothing but galleries, big ones too. He would paint for 6 months, do the full-on dog and pony show, kind of like that gallery we were just looking at. And, you know, 50% haircut right off the top, not keeping the customer data. And now he's selling it all direct from his basement, again, without even wearing sleeves, and he's doing incredibly well. So, you know, there you go. Here's another gal, okay? And I love showing her story. So this is her in her basement. She's showing, she was moving from one studio to another. So we're like, okay, we need to do this again. Same technique, same tactics, a little bit different around the edges. But this is my favorite one to show because more than anything else. So I might as well leave it plain. In this particular show, she had 76 pieces. Remember what I said about the collector list earlier, right? She, before the show went live, she emailed her collector list. Her collector list bought 46% of the show before the show even started. Then she had the live art show. All told, out of her 82 or 83 pieces, she sold 76 of them for a little over $15,000 US. Now, again, these weren't her big pieces. These were kind of color studies and, you know, subject matter studies and little sketches and everything else that she kind of like did along the way. But she absolutely destroyed it. And was there a 50-50 split? Nope. Was there, and you can see she's also got the ear. Well, I could see for a second there, she's got the ear pods in her ears, but that's the future of selling art. And the difference between us and everyone else is that we're really good at this. That sounds like braggadocio. It's not braggadocio. The only reason we're really good at it is because we're doing it all the time and we keep getting better and better and better. And this is totally brand new territory. There are no rules. No one has it all figured out. The whole entire world is trying to figure it out. It's like you go back to these guys, their hoity-toity report. And what they have this term for it. What are they? Oh, okay. Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution of sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and at the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. You know what OVRs are? A fancy, snobby way to call a Zoom session. All it is live video, us talking just like this. The point is, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about the highest selling art, the Sotheby's, whatever the other one is. Sotheby's, I always forget what the other one's called. Sotheby's, and I don't know, doesn't matter. The auction houses, the highest level of art auctions that exist, or what you're trying to do. The next best way is live video, just like what we're doing right now. And does it really make sense? Like when you just break it down to retail? Of course it does. What would be the best way to sell for Harley to sell art? It would be if you had an art gallery in his town. People can come in, they can talk to him, you can show the work, you can have the interaction. They get to know, like, and trust him. They buy a piece. He keeps the information. Best way to sell it without question. Problem? I don't live in Harley's town, right? You don't live in Harley's town. So what's the next best thing Harley can do? Go right back into the gallery, turn the camera on, and start talking. I feel like I'm in his gallery, right? Like, you know, you look at Matthew's example, like where I put that. Here he is. Where is it? Here he is in this gallery walking through it, right? And he's talking about it like, this is pretty doggone close to being there. This is real damn close to being there, like insanely close to being there, right? And I feel like I'm talking with him. If I was watching this in real time, I could have been chatting him up and he could have been answering directly, and I can put in offers right on the spot and the commerce goes down. So that's the next best way. What is the worst way? Okay, I'll tell you what the worst way is. It's on the website, right? Because if the best way is Harley inside of his gallery, if the next best way is Harley inside of his gallery via video, you know what the website is? The website's leaving the doors open to the gallery and not helping people at all. Go ahead and walk through, enjoy yourself, have a great time. I'm not going to help you, right? It's essentially what it is. And I'm not saying you don't need it. It's a critical component to the entire thing, but it's not the most important one. And it's not the one you should be leveraging the most. And so how are you going to figure out how to do all that on your own? You're not, right? It's going to take you a very, very long time and hair pulling out of the head. Or you could pay us a bunch of money and download it and start going day one, right? And there's about a million other things. So that's what we do, right? And you contrast us to Fine Art America, not knocking them. We'll show you how to do live art shows starting day one, and they're telling you to send a newsletter. A newsletter was breaking technology 25 years ago, right? The ball's moved down the court a little bit. So you got me fired up on that one, Harley. Sorry to go on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I want to start polling on these things. And I know, you know, what normally happens is like some people ask questions and a lot of people just hang on the thing. I want to put a poll on your Zoom screen now. And this thing's totally anonymous. Okay. I have no idea who you are responding, but if you'll just let me know what you think, I would seriously appreciate it. And in the meantime, when you guys are contemplating that, I'm going to answer Shauna Daniels' comment on YouTube. And let me just see if I can pull it up. So every time we market, create content, or blast our email list, we need to deliver value without selling. What are some ways we can provide value that doesn't revolve around selling? The simplest one, Sean, don't have any language about the sale in the content, right? At all. Like don't do any of that. Talk about your process, right? Show your inspiration. Show them you're a human being. Show them that you walked a dog and he's occasionally crafting your carpet, right? There's a million different ways that you can be interesting and you can make yourself part of the brand, right? Which is literally the whole ball game. So that's what you need to be doing. And it's pretty simple. Like whether you're a painter or a photographer, there's, you know, everyone always talks about, you know, show the work, right? Show the work. No one ever tells the story behind the work. Like, what is the story behind the work? And I'll give you a Thor instance. We have a particular gentleman that's a wildlife photographer, and he is a world-renowned wildlife photographer. BBC, Planet Earth. What's the other one? Planet Earth, and then there's
National Geographic.
Yeah, thank you, National Geographic. Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate that. I'm glad I didn't turn your mic off. And you look at his work, and his work's phenomenal. Okay, this guy's been flown all over the world, every single solitary place that you could never get to, the most exotic places ever. And while it's awesome, okay, and thank you for everyone that voted in the poll, I appreciate it. While it's awesome, like you look at the image and it's like you're just comparing it to every other image. It's just an image. I'm flicking through an image, right? Then he tells the story, and he's like, I had to get there at 4:30 in the morning. I had to crawl with my tripod and my camera on my back through 6 inches of mud to get into my blind. The birds that I was trying to shoot that particular day did not show up until 11:30, and they were only there for 16 minutes. So I crawled 4 a.m., sat in this sweltering blind, and was just waiting just for this moment. It's like the story just draws you into the photograph so much, and you're like, oh my gosh, now I want to buy this thing, right? So tell the story, Sean. That's one of the best things that you could possibly do. Yeah, that's what I would say. But what else? Other questions? Well, I've got you. All right, looks like we got one coming in the chat. If you have a Squarespace site now, can you still get the marketing classes? Yes, you can, Deborah. You absolutely can. But what will end up happening is you'll get the marketing classes, and then you'll realize there's a ton of marketing built into the software. Then you'll eventually be like, what am I doing on Squarespace? Right? I mean, I get what everyone always does in their mind. It's like, and I said it like in the intro video, like fears in order for artists, photographers: death, taxes, having to build a new website. Terrifying, right? Terrifying. Last thing you want to do. It's death, taxes, building a new website, moving is actually number 4. But we make it really, really easy to switch. And you know, our sites have just so much technology that helps with the art selling process that it's not a fair fight. It's not a fair comparison. Suzanne was asking, you mentioned picking a niche. Does your website only work for one specific niche, or do you have customers that are successful having several on their site? Yeah, several is the best way of it, right? Like everyone thinks, sorry, I'm popping out. Everyone thinks that their work is the brand. And while that's true to a certain extent, it's rather more than that. You're the brand as much as the work is the brand, right? And so it underscores, you know, you can have as many niches as you want. It doesn't even matter, right? You know, it's even better to have several early on, because you don't realize, you don't know what you don't know. Like one might take off, one might be a complete dud. The sales might be spread evenly throughout a whole bunch. And so until you actively, you know, start marketing and figuring that out, you'll never know. You'll just never know. Okay, Deborah, you've got a question. I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead, Deborah. What marketing is built in? Hey.
My question, I guess, was more or less, if I really only sell originals, and the reason why I do that is because they're not the type of thing you would normally put on a coffee cup or a thing. I sell both 2-dimensional and I sell pottery, you know, and like pottery, you can't really print that on a tote bag, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out why would I want to switch to your software? And the only thing I thought of was I do pay like an annual fee to Squarespace. Mm-hmm. If I took that down and moved on to your platform, you know, is that storefront website included in your fee, or do you have to pay additionally for that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the one-time fee is for all the marketing education for life, and to be honest with you, more than anything else, that's why you need to switch. Like, yeah, you might not be using print on demand, or because you're not doing reproductions, but you have a marketing problem the same as everyone else does. It doesn't matter if you're just selling originals, right? Like you
Mhm.
still have a marketing problem, and Squarespace is not solving your marketing problem for you. The only one that can solve it is you, and by putting in the work. And so that's what we teach you. So yes, we still have a regular monthly fee like Squarespace does, or you can pay it annually or whatever else. But
Gotcha.
that's not your problem, right? Like, you know, you need to work on that. Just out of curiosity though, in terms of your entire store, and this is always the question that I ask when someone says, you know, I just do originals. What do your originals start at, and what do they go up to?
$79 to $2,200.
Wonderful. So that's fantastic. The only downside, one of the most significant downsides, and again, this is, you know, my advice to the best of my ability. You know, it's like, you know, you know, when you go and see a general practitioner doctor, that's what I am. I'm a general practitioner. It's because it's what I have to be, because I'm addressing so many different people on a call. But you know, if whatever the ailment was reached a significant state, you would have to go see a dermatologist, right? Because a general practitioner would be like, go see a specialist. What I always say for the people with the originals, the general big picture advice is, the danger of just selling originals is if the price points are too high and you don't have some entry level price points for people to actually be able to purchase art from you, it's very difficult to make it. The fact that you have the range puts you in a much better position than both. Because I get people on here all the time that are like, yeah, you know, my originals start at $2,800. I'm like, that's fantastic. How many stores do you walk into on a regular basis where the entry level price is $2,800? How many people do you see in there buying all the time, right? Like that's a hard way to make a business for most people. So the fact that you have the price points covered makes me happy. That's huge, right? Like that's how you go about it. You need to have some inexpensive pieces for your entry level folks up to the high end stuff for the higher net worth folks. So good on you for that.
So when you're talking about marketing classes, you mentioned something about having a $2,000 sale point to get you out of the traction group. And we're talking about $2,000 of sales generated by something your team suggested, or what are we talking?
So it's just a way for us to not overwhelm people early on, because most people come on are just, the vast majority are just getting their feet wet with digital marketing. And so we say, here's the entry level group. You just signed up with us. Until you sell $2,000 directly through your website, we don't want to move you up to the next group. So go ahead and sell that, and then we'll move you up to the next group. But obviously, that's our best shot at picking some sort of arbitrary line in the sand. You can attend either of those sessions on a week in and week out basis, of course. And in many cases, people will stay in the traction session well after they're over 2,000 because they're still learning things. But it's a way for us to, you know, have a freshman class and have a senior class, right? Where the coursework is a little bit more in depth, a little bit harder core.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in addition, when people are doing this, you keep saying in person is still the best way. So do you recommend combining this with occasional in-person sales?
100%. All three. You have to have all three going all year long.
Yeah.
You have to have in person. Obviously, that's the very simple one to do. There's not that many circumstances where you can do it, right? But you'll know what they are, because, you know, hey, can I come over? The next best is leveraging video, and we teach you all the ways to do that. And then there's the website, and you need to have all three going at all times. Those are the three ways that you need to have in your business, that every artist or photographer needs to have in their business. And it's like, sort of like, are they in my hometown? No. Okay, then let's go to the video. Right? Can't do the video, or it doesn't call for video. Great, the website's there to cover it. But that's how it goes.
Okay. And then do you guys get a percent of this? If we would sell things that aren't our originals, do you get a percent of those items?
It sort of depends. We have a bunch of different items in the store. Some have transaction fees on them, some don't. It's on a, like a, I don't know if it's on a product type basis. What I would do is, if you're on the fence, Deborah, and you're curious, is put in a demo. What happens when you put in a demo? Somebody calls you, and it's like a 10 to 15 minute call where you can ask all the nitty gritty questions about pricing, the stuff that I don't know. And if you like it, great. You can set up the whole demo, which goes like an hour and 10 minutes to go through every bell and whistle and feature and everything. And if not, they'll never call you again. So it's not like a harassing, high pressure situation. But I stay out of the sales department's details and everything else, just because it creates a more harmonious balance.
Gotcha. And then are they the people that if you do, I do have photography for everything, and I already did set up this website. If I were to switch to your website and I just gave them all my photography, what do those sites run, or is it depending on how many items and such and such?
Yeah, and,
Like
sometimes
just
they
to
throw in,
swap it over.
yeah, sometimes they throw in deals and everything else. Unfortunately, we don't have some sort of match. There's just so many different website options out there that's impossible to create just some sort of vacuum that sucks it out and puts it right in. But they offer it as a service where you don't have to touch anything. Like you just say, here are the images,
Okay.
here are the prices, here's my about me section, here's my logo, call me when it's done, right? And
do they get involved with SEO and all that stuff as well?
I don't think that's in the site setup, but you don't have to worry all that much about SEO. And I can go into depth on that rant if you like, but you need the main pages on your site sorted for SEO. And other than that, you don't need a whole lot. SEO is not really a lot of art for most people.
I kind of am agreeing with that because I spent a lot of time on SEO and I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any positives on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
For like 98% of artists, it's just a complete waste of time, sadly.
Yeah, it's partly because you really have to use individual search terms and it takes too long to find the search terms. And then even then you're not going to rank against a lot of people who have huge amounts of traction to their site, because that's one of the metrics Google uses is the volumes to sites. So we're not going to have sites that have as much volume as they need to get us that traction. So that's why I was curious about your product, because I have tried everything. I'm looking, and I've actually owned a gallery, and I've actually been a site manager for a company that retailed things like, medicine cabinets and, easels and such. And I built sites and I saw their sites go really fast, but they did it with paid marketing. And I don't know if you guys discuss paid marketing or you're more in terms of the newsletter. Okay.
You better believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Just lots of questions. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks, Deborah. Yeah, the SEO is a sad thing because so many people are sold a bill of goods that's what they need. That's what they have to do SEO. And it's like, okay, well, I have 5,500 plus customers and I look at all of their data and I can count on one hand the people that are like truly profitable from organic traffic that's not name-based, i.e., Harley Talkington, they're searching his name and then going to his website. No, I mean, whatever he's shooting or whatever he's painting, like it's just everything in marketing, okay, is fundamentally about arbitrage. The minute you figure the marketing technique out for the first time is when it works the best. Every day thereafter, it works worse and worse and worse and worse until it just doesn't work, period. The SEO ship sailed like 15 years ago. Not only that, everyone thinks SEO, I magically just fill out my pages and my images with these keywords and Google just delivers traffic. Nothing could be further from the truth. All that does is set you up to start doing SEO. What is SEO? It's building links from other websites back to your site. And guess what you have to do to make that work? Day in, day out, getting those links for years. And even then, you won't know until you get enough volume to figure out if the keywords that you're trying to optimize for even convert. If they even convert. So it's just not what I advise for artists or photographers in the slightest. All right, Sean's asking me, do you provide a marketing advisor manager that helps us set up the schedule or game plan? Yeah, Sean, you're in class nonstop, year in, year out. And trust me, the marketing plan for your brand is not going to be that different than the marketing plan for most everybody's brand. Fundamentally, there's omni-channel marketing, which you all need to learn. I can go into that in at a later time. Once you start learning that and hacking at that and figuring out, all you're doing is just tweaking omni-channel marketing for your various different brand and for your various different language, right? Like one person's about dogs and they've got a whole dog angle and copy and funny images. Another person's selling abstract art, so their copy changes a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's omni-channel marketing, how to do that effectively. And it takes time. It takes time to learn how to do that and get great at it. So that's what I would say. A good session today, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate the questions. You guys have been awesome. And yes, Terry, I covered pricing. It'll be in the replay. It's about 2/3 of the way through it. And just to answer your question quickly, yes, the website has a monthly fee. Yes, you pay a one-time fee to get access to all of this marketing wonderfulness that I've been discussing. And then that's it. You don't ever pay that fee again. So that's what I would say. But yeah, thank you guys. Big month coming up too. We got Father's Day looming out there. Huge marketing effort that we throw down for Father's Day. And fundamentally selling art is about marketing and then a sale, marketing and then a sale, marketing and then a sale, marketing and then a sale. Fourth quarter, best time of year, rinse and repeat all year long. And there's steps there to learn. There's things to get good at. And once you figure it out, you start kicking butt. And for anyone saying, I don't want to have sales, I think it cheapens the art. The only two companies I'm aware of that don't have sales are Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's. Are you saying your art is as good as Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's? Okay. Well, it must be nice. Must be nice for you. How's that working out? You delivering your art in little bags, little turquoise bags, right? So that's the ball game. That's what we do. So if you guys are just finding out about us for the first time, don't worry. You don't need to do anything. We're going to be here. You're going to see our ads and see our marketing and get our emails. We email more than, it's indecorous how much we email. Let's just put it that way. But if you are considering what we do, highly recommend the demo. Very no pressure, very easy. You can ask all your questions. They'll take a look at what you have. They'll take a look at your art. They'll let you know if they think you're a fit and all of that wonderfulness. I just said wonderfulness twice in 2 sentences. That's ridiculous. Or in 2 minutes. It's got to be a Monday. But thank you guys. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you hanging on for the whole session, and I appreciate you filling out my poll. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. And we'll send you the replay and all of the links in short order. But on that note, thanks, and have a great day. Bye, guys.